Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Arsenal versus West Ham match preview, and this is a big one. A lot to talk about in this one. Obviously, Liverpool just drew last night against Aston Villa away from home, 2-2 draw. Same result we had against Aston Villa a few weeks ago. That means we need to take advantage. Just 2 weeks ago, Liverpool are the ones who are like 6 points ahead of us with a game in hand. Now they're still ahead of us, but now we are the ones who have a game in hand. But they do have Man City next. We have West Ham next, and this is a game we need to take advantage of. If things go our way, I remember. I think it was before I think 2 weeks ago, the preview before. Is it before Leicester or the previous game before that? I said in the next 2-3 weeks it could go very well, it could go very wrong, or it could go, it could just stay the same. Very well means, Liverpool draw points, we take advantage, and then we have Martinelli and Saka back in April while we're still in a title race. That would be great. But the bad way could have been, if Liverpool just leave us behind and then our players don't even come back, or our players come back, it's already too late. That is worst case scenario. Right now, as I said before the Leicester game, let's just see how it goes. Right now, things are going better than what it would have been 2 weeks ago, because Liverpool could have been easily 11, 12 points ahead of us. It could have been over. But now, after the next two games, it could easily be 2 or 3 points. If we beat West Ham and Liverpool draw or lose to Liverpool or to Man City, and then we win our game in hand, which will be Chelsea in 2-3 weeks' time, that will be 2 points behind them or 3 points behind them. And then it really is a title race. Now, something we've not done this season yet is win more than 3 games in a row. We now have won 3 games in a row against Wolves, against Man City, and against Leicester recently. We haven't won 4 in a row. Last season, we did it a lot of times. Obviously, we won 8 in a row after the Dubai trip. And amongst those 8 games, we played Nottingham away, and we also played West Ham. So those two teams, once again, are in these next 2 games. Now we need to have them in another run right now. We've won 3. West Ham needs to be 4, and Nottingham needs to be 5. It just has to be. I know Nottingham is not going to be easy, but it just has to be. You have to go and win difficult games like that one. Last season, we also won 6 in a row at the end of the season after losing to Aston Villa. We went again and won 6 in a row. So it could easily have been 15 wins in a row at the end of last season. Speaking of 15, we are currently 15 games unbeaten, and that probably needs to stretch all the way to 25 for us to win that league title. And also last season, sometime in November, we won 4 games in a row. So last season, my point, we won 4 games in a row 3 separate times. This season, we haven't done it. West Ham this weekend has to be a 4th win in a row. And even the previous season, the first time we competed in Man City for a title, we also won 5 games in a row, like 2 or 3 different times. We have to do it right now. You have to have a run of games. We cannot have, we can't go again 2 wins in a row and then a draw and then 3 wins in a row and then a defeat. We can't do that. If you want to catch up with Liverpool, who obviously have the advantage, you obviously are the favorites to win the league. The only way to put pressure on them is to keep on winning. And one thing that would do that, if they see us beating West Ham and Nottingham Forest this week, that would be huge, especially if they drop points to either Man City or Newcastle. It would be crazy. It would be absolutely crazy. It would put pressure on them. And we just have to do that. We can't look back into the January transfer window that has passed. We just have to go with what we have right now. That is all we have to do. So we'll come back to Arsenal. Let's first talk about West Ham a little bit. So obviously, a few months ago, we played West Ham away from home. We battered them once again, although it was a crazy game. We were like 4 goals up, and then they scored twice, and then we scored a 5th one. But that game had the likes of Saka and Havertz and all those guys. Now those players aren't there. Now we have we need to find a different way of beating them. Now, again, like I said last week against Leicester, Leicester was the perfect team to play against at that particular time after that break. I think West Ham is also the best team to play after this Leicester game. If right now we were playing Aston Villa away from home or something, that would have been very difficult to try and get 4 wins in a row. That would have been difficult. Now, West Ham can still punish you. I mean, at the beginning of the season, when you're looking at their squad, people are saying Bowen, Kudus, all these guys. The Somerville has been bought now. People are predicting top 7, top 8 finishes for West Ham. It hasn't really worked out. They're currently 16th. They're not going to get relegated. They're 10 points clear of 18th place. But in their last 5 games, they've only won 1. They've drawn 1, and they've had 3 losses. They even lost to Chelsea recently, and they even lost to Man City. So if those teams can beat you, you should be able to beat you. So they lost 4-1 to Man City, and they currently have a minus 18 goal difference. Now I don't know if you're going to take advantage of that. Usually we do. We scored 5 goals this season against them, 6 last season. I think 3 the previous season at home against them. Last season they came to our place and beat us 2-0. I don't know if you're going to take advantage of that poor defense that West Ham have, because we don't really have any forward players, but we need to. Now, we're not going to score 3-4 goals too many times for the rest of the season, maybe once or twice more, but you're not going to do it many, many times unless if we actually do that. As I said, you need to knight Mikel Arteta. And one of those fixtures that we can be able to do that even without the forward players is this one, because of their defensive record so far this season and their away record as well. They've only won 3 away games all season, and their last away win was against Southampton on Boxing Day. And that's obviously not a good record. And in this game, yes, we're missing players. They also will be missing Paqueta, Somerville, Fulkrug is out. As we know, Antonio is out. So they are missing a few players, although they still have players that we've been linked to before, like Kudus, and they still have good players like Bourne, who will probably be playing up front. So you still need to watch out for them. And Sushek bombing into the box. Obviously, we are very good at set pieces, but you never know with them as well. With Sushek and those other guys. Wan-Bissaka has been great this season for them. Emerson scored against us last time with a fantastic free kick. So you still obviously have to give them the respect. They're still a definite Premier League team that you never expect to get relegated anytime soon. So, and in the Premier League these days, there's like 12, 13 teams that can beat you. Aston Villa, Brentford, Brighton, Fulham, Nottingham, Bournemouth. You can even add West Ham into that list, because, if you look at the last 2 years, you'll find a place where they beat Arsenal, you'll find a place where they beat Man United, you'll find a place where they beaten Tottenham, you'll find a place where they've beaten Chelsea. Like, they take points away from teams, is what I mean. But we can't allow it this time around. This is a game that we have to win, and ideally we need to make it as comfortable as possible as we can, because the Leicester game was very stressful. I know there's still going to be very many games that are going to be stressful. Away at Nottingham, away at Man United, they're not going to be easy. We need to find a place where you're going to make it easy for ourselves. And we need to make West Ham the 4th win of the season. We need to make Nottingham Forest the 5th win of the season. And then after that, we don't have a game that weekend. Next weekend, we don't have a game because you're not in the FA Cup. And then our focus will turn to the Champions League. And then after that, we will look at Man United and Chelsea coming up. So the games are not easy. Actually, the next 4 games, this is the easiest between West Ham, Nottingham Forest, Man United, Chelsea. This is what you'd say is the easier one between all of those 4 teams. But need to take them seriously, need to take our chances like Merino did last game. And something that we need to do is defensively, we have to be solid. Now, so far, we have the best defensive record by far. We've conceded 22 goals. Liverpool have conceded 4 more than us. And not only do people are looking at it like, okay, Liverpool have to drop points, of course. Arsenal have to go on a winning run, of course. But something has to happen for us to go on that winning run is we need to keep our defense, tight. We have to. Those 22 goals we've conceded, that number needs to stay below 30 for us to have a chance. That means, all those games that are coming up against Nottingham away, against Man United away, against Liverpool away, between now and the end of the season, we cannot concede more than 8 goals. It has to be 8 or 7 or below. Yeah, we need to keep a lot of clean sheet scores. We're not going to score a lot of goals, and also we don't have a lot of forward players. We have to depend on our defensive players, and that also applies in the Champions League. And luckily, our defense is looking good. Dre has been magnificent this season. Saliba is there, obviously. Gabriel is there, and then Timber and Lewis Skelly have been great. And then Calafiori is back as well. He was great in the last game. And then Ben White is back. So our defense has a good shape going on. We have all our defenders fit apart from a couple, but the defensive shape, the defensive numbers are there. That is what you need to depend on. When Timber is tired, you can bring on Ben White, same with Calafiori and Lewis Kelly on the other side. Maybe Calafiori can debutize once or twice for Gabriel at centre-back position. You have to do that, and we have to keep a clean sheet. If we keep a clean sheet, we are going to win the game, because I fancy us to score a couple. Against Leicester at halftime, I said we need to keep a clean sheet to win this game, because they don't expect us to get 2 goals. We did get 2 goals eventually, but if you keep a clean sheet, you give yourself a good chance. And I think the Leicester clean sheet was the first one since last year or something, like 3 months. We are not keeping a lot of our clean sheets, but at home, it's been great. We haven't lost. We're the only team not to lose a home game this season, and let's hope it stays the same. But obviously, as I said, you cannot underestimate any Premier League team at all. Every team is going to be very tough. You have to go out there and do your job. We cannot feel sorry for ourselves at all. We have to, work with what we have right now. And luckily, our defense is still intact. Our midfield is still intact. We have to find a way to score goals. So, which lineup would I go for in this game? This is the lineup I have. So, in goal, David Raya, and then Calafiori, Gabriel Saliba, and Timber. So, I will start Lewis Kelly against Nottingham Forest. We have another game in 4 days after the Western one, so I would start Calafiori in this one. You obviously need him to also be up to speed. You can't just leave him on the bench every single time. He came on against Leicester and he was really good, so start him for this one. He hasn't started in a long time. And then midfield, the rest are self-explanatory. Ben White is back, so it's going to be interesting to see when he's going to get his chance. Rice, Partey, Odegaard in midfield for sure. Again, Merino, we are now using Merino up front, so he all of a sudden isn't a midfield option. So the only other midfield option is really Jorginho. Nwaneri, the other midfield option is also playing up front, so you don't really have too many options there. So Partey, Rice, Odegaard. Rice was really good once again last game. Partey wasn't great against Leicester. Odegaard was just okay against Leicester. As I said again against Leicester, we need Odegaard to be at the top of his game because of the players we are missing. We can't have Odegaard having poor games. We need him to chip in with the goals and the assists. He was very good in the last 20 minutes of that Leicester game in terms of the hard work and the pushing the ball up front and creating those assists before the assists and all that. He was good and he did create a few chances for Nwaneri. I think one of them hit the post. So we need him to be at the top of his game. And then up front, yes. People are saying Sterling might still start for this one, maybe a last chance, but nope. Trossard on the left, Merino up front, Nwaneri on the right. I mean, it worked last time for Merino. I mean, we're not going into this game expecting Merino to score another brace, another hat trick. But imagine if he did, the confidence would be up even for himself. Like, it'd be like, okay, I've scored 4 goals in 2 games. That would be crazy. But if you can, convert his chances. Again, I'm not expecting Merino to convert 100% of his chances as a midfielder, as a defensive midfielder. Not expecting him to do all that, but if he can help us, finish those chances off, get into the right positions. That is something he did very well against Leicester. He stayed onside, and then we can have Trossard on the left side, not as a striker, and then we have Nwaneri putting up a performance like he did against Leicester. That would be great. So that is my starting lineup for this game. So after that, if you look at the bench, we'll have players like Neto. We'll have players like Sterling on the bench, Jorginho on the bench, and then a lot of defenders in Zinchenko, Kivio, Tierney, Ben White, Lewis Kelly. We'll have a lot of defenders. But remember, we can also use Lewis Kelly as a midfielder. If we need to rest Declan Rice and Partey, both of them in this game, all you can do, is bring Jorginho for Partey and maybe bring in Lewis Kelly for Declan Rice. That can also happen. You can even bring Zinchenko in for me in the midfield for the last 25 minutes or something if we need to rest Partey and Rice. And that is something we'll need to do because we have Nottingham Forest in midweek. Luckily, we don't have another fixture that following week, but you simply have to win this game. Remember when Liverpool dropped points and we closed the gap, and then that same weekend, I think we drew with Aston Villa, and Liverpool had that last-minute win against Brentford, and they went back to like 8-9 points ahead of us. We can't let that happen again. We can't have a situation where everyone's expecting us to close the gap to 5 points this week, and then we go and we draw we draw to West Ham, and then Liverpool somehow beat Man City, and then boom, it's 9 points. We don't want that. We need to win this game, put pressure on Liverpool. And I've looked at the fixtures for the next few weeks. We are playing either at the same time with Liverpool, like on Wednesday, or we're playing before them for the next 2-3 games, which is great. I wanted that. We need to play before them, put the pressure on them. That is what needs to happen. Now, prediction. What is my prediction for Arsenal West Ham? They said West Ham don't have a great defense, but they're very capable of scoring. Now, how many goals can we score? We're going to be able to score more than 2 goals without all those forward players. Is this the game to do it? Is it going to be another clean sheet back-to-back? We're going to stay unbeaten at home. A lot of questions. Stuff. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go with the same result as Leicester. I'm going to go for Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. I don't think you're going to score that many goals, but if you can, that's fine. I have this feeling like maybe Kudus could get a chance and score, but 2-1 would be very stressful. So I'm going to go for Arsenal 2, West Ham 0. And yes, Merino to score again, and hopefully this time Odegaard can score a goal. But even if Trossard don't want to chip in, I really don't care who scores. That would be great. But I do want Merino to score. You know, if he's going to play as our striker for the next few weeks, we need his confidence to be up. So, and whoever plays, even if Sterling comes on, I hope for a better performance, because you can't just have those players playing poorly every single time. There's someone they're going to be needed to come on from the bench. So 2-0 to Arsenal is my prediction. Last time I predicted a 2-0, it was 2-0. Let's hope it's the same this time. Or let's hope it's more goals than 2. Let me know your prediction. Let me know your starting lineup. Would you start Calafiori, Lewis Kelly at left back? Let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.